People ask me how I got the name Six Missing, and I always tell them it was kind of a wild story. Well, now's the time to tell you the entirely true and entirely crazy ghost story that helps me get the name Six Missing. Let's set the vibe. So the story starts a handful of years ago in New York City when I was playing in bands with my friends, one of which had a recording studio out in Pennsylvania. The studio was based on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. On the property was the farm itself, which was converted into a studio, the main house, and then the guest cabin. Whenever we would go and stay, we would all bunk up in the cabin, kind of like we were at summer camp. The cabin was split into two sides. One side had bunk beds, the other had a little den living room area. In the middle was a screen door that let you in. We got out to the studio late on a Friday night and launched right into a recording session. When we all finally kind of called it a night, we walked from the studio to the cabin, which was probably just 50 yards away. When I got back to the cabin, I realized I had forgotten my headphones and my phone charger, so I was gonna head back up to grab them. Walking the path from the cabin to the studio, I got this kind of weird feeling in my body that I was being watched. You know that feeling you get when you can just kind of tell something is there? So I picked up my pace and hightailed it back to the cabin. I was on the bunk bed side with one of my bandmates. I climbed to the top bunk and crashed out for the night. Sometime after falling asleep, I had heard the screen door to the cabin open and then close. I felt somebody come into the side of the room that me and my buddy were in. Since my back was towards the door, I went to go turn around to see who it was, and that is where the craziness began. I felt a pain in the center of my back, kind of like a sharp knife had gone into me. It was either so hot or so cold, I couldn't tell the difference. I locked up. I couldn't move. I felt like something or someone was holding me down. Terror started to sink in as tears instantly came to my face. I felt this feeling that I was never going to be happy ever again. Sadness was just overwhelming my body. My literal life force started draining out of me into this giant, endless black nothingness. I've never experienced anything like that before. I tried to jostle myself around, enough to maybe shake the bed to wake my friend up beneath me, hoping that maybe he could help me. But I couldn't move. I literally was locked in place. I tried yelling, and as I went to go scream, I opened my mouth, and the sound of my own voice echoed endlessly in my own head. It was at this point that I started to suspect that I was being possessed. I know how that sounds, but trust me when I tell you, this was so real. My life really did start flashing before my eyes. As it started draining out of me, I could feel that there was something, this possessing entity that wanted me. It was trying to come through. I was going to cease to exist. I was not ready for that to happen. I needed to take a stand against what was trying to take over. So I started with the remaining energy that I had left to tell it to leave. It wasn't wanted here. I was not its vessel, but it wasn't giving up. In fact, it almost seemed like I was egging it on. And I mustered up the remaining bits of energy that I had left and screamed with my entire soul, "Leave me alone." Thankfully, that seemed to do it, because in that moment, I felt the warmth return to my body. I felt the blood rush back into my face, and I could feel that sharp pain in my back subside. The screen door did open and close again, but I was too afraid to turn around and look and see. For the rest of the night, I just kind of laid there, hoping that whatever that was wouldn't return. The next morning, I was understandably shaken. One of the band members showed up for coffee and asked which one of us went out last night. The blood drained from my face again, and he said, "Well, I heard someone come in and out last night. I heard the door." That was all I needed to hear to tell the band my entire story. Following week, when I got back to work, I told one of my best friends this crazy story. And she said, "Well, have you ever looked up where the studio is on a map?" Lo and behold, separated by one small patch of trees, the studio lay on one side and the final battlefield of the Battle of Brandywine the other. So I started looking it up, reading about the horrors of war in general. Part of the Revolutionary War, bayonet was the primary weapon. I started to think a little bit about the pain in my back. And as I scrolled down to see the casualties, I saw that there was a category that said missing, 6. It was in that moment that I decided that's going to be the name of this project, because I really do believe that something or someone was trying to make itself known. And perhaps one of those missing 6 did. I always felt like the music I created existed in two planes, the physical and the spiritual. So having a name that paid homage to that exact feeling just felt right. I wouldn't believe it if it didn't happen to me. Thanks for watching, and here's to the unknown.